Harvey Weinstein is expected to turn himself into New York police on Friday. The disgraced former film producer will face charges of rape and other sex crimes. He's also under investigation for alleged criminal sexual conduct in Los Angeles and London. Last year, dozens of women publicly accused Weinstein of sexual abuse, rape or misconduct, and that sparked the Me Too movement, where women around the world came forward with accounts of being sexually harassed by powerful men. Well, for more on all of this, criminal defense attorney and former sex crimes prosecutor Ambrosio Rodriguez is with us here in the studio. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's start with Weinstein turning himself into the NYPD. One of the charges is that he raped one woman, forced another to perform oral sex. What else do we know about these specific allegations?
Well, these are the allegations that came out in the New Yorker that sparked the whole Me Too movement. I mean, it really is how the mighty have fallen, right? Both of these charges kind of back each other up. In a sex crimes case, in a prosecution, a DA needs corroboration. It's never enough to just have the accusation of one woman without having physical evidence or biological evidence. And that's actually kind of rare, because late reporting is very common because of the issues of shame and power that go with it. But now you have two separate women that tell similar stories that don't know each other and have, at least the DA believes, to have credible stories. I want to also keep in mind that the DA of Manhattan, Cyrus Vance, has actually got into a lot of controversy because this information, the cops that
they had this for a while.
Right, and they had it on tape, remember? So a lot of this has to do with kind of the political pressure that was...
So you mentioned the sort of the corporation here and other victims. There's two victims here, but what we saw in Cosby, there was one victim, but others were allowed to testify.
Correct.
Which, you know, essentially established that pattern of behavior. Will there be a similar situation here?
Absolutely. New York is just like California. It allows what's called uncharged acts. That is, other women whose the crime that is that they're accused Harvey of having committed is not being charged in the indictment. So the women that from New York, from London, that have made reports can't come into New York and make a statement in front of the jury.
Weinstein apparently negotiated a bail package in advance. How do you do that? And does that actually mean he won't spend any time in jail, at least initially?
You do that when you have an army of lawyers.
Wow.
Right? I mean, that's... Bail is usually set by schedule, and a bail schedule is based on the maximum amount of time a person can spend in prison if found guilty. What probably happened was he was told ahead of time what the charges would be. The bail was set, and he paid for that bail probably as a cash bond, and it was already set up. He still, under New York law, has to be booked. So he will be fingerprinted. There will be a mugshot.
There'll be a perp walk?
I'm sure there will be.
Okay. Okay, so you mentioned an army of lawyers. If you were doing this case, would you try and fight it? Would you go for a plea deal? What do you think they'll do?
He's not going to take a plea. It's going to go to trial. I mean, there's a legitimate... Look, this is the defense that Harvey Weinstein should use, which is... And it has to be... It's kind of a radical defense, but it has to be given the facts of the case, which is... Trading sex for jobs in Hollywood is common.
Right.
It is the coin of the realm. There are lots and lots of women that have had sex with me in order to get positions or to get roles. These two women that are making the accusations were doing the same thing. They just have buyer's remorse, or they're not happy they didn't get the part, or I didn't give them a part, or things just didn't work out. But Hollywood is a dirty business. And
is that the best you've got?
I don't see why it wouldn't work.
I mean, oh really?
Right.
How does that may have worked a couple of years ago? How does that work now in an era of Me Too?
Because we have an era of Me Too on the media, in the New Yorker, in a certain part of the United States, doesn't mean that everyone has bought into Me Too. I mean, right? We've talked about Me Too so much that it has become we've kind of become lazy to think that everyone agrees with Me Too. Right. But that's not necessarily true.
I just thought that there is now a much more of a willingness to accept the word of women when they come forward and they detail these stories, whereas before it always seemed like there was the bias towards the person being accused as opposed to the accuser. Now it seems that's shifted, and so I'm just wondering how good that defense is in that kind of atmosphere.
That shifted in the media.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it's shifted with everyone else. There's, what, 350 million people. There's about 12 million of those living in New York. I don't believe that everyone has bought into it. Men are acquitted of rape every day in this country.
So this will be a jury trial?
This will be a jury trial, and it'll be a hell of a trial.
Will you see more charges, or is this it?
There'll be, I think that now Los Angeles is under more pressure to press charges, and they're running towards the end of the statute of limitations. So they have to make a decision.
Right. Okay. This is obviously just the beginning, and there's a lot yet to play out. Ambrosio, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers. Congratulations on the new baby girl.
Thank you so much.
Okay.